This is what I am listening to and thinking of the failure of love and the failure of the we that led to Trump. The we as a collective of loveless, neoliberal individuals. That won't work. And I'm thinking we need to rebuild love for oneself, for the individual and for the other, before we do the we. I'm thinking that art, in the larger sense of this word, can heal this rupture. I get into Dakar, and my interest shifts. Though I sympathize with the destiny of all those out there, in Dakar, we end thinking of Trump. We end marching for, not against America. We're trying to mind our own businesses. And actually, we have reason to celebrate in Dakar. We're only 2 days before I arrived. Adama Barrow was sworn in as president of the Gambia. On that blessed day, as the world turned towards America, protesters in the Gambia, through daily demonstrations, have forced dictator Yahya Jammeh to step down and leave the country upon interventions by Alpha Condé and Abdelaziz of Mauritania. African solutions to African problems. And as I write, people in southern Cameroon are doing a ghost town protest against the segregation of Anglophone Cameroonians in the dispute between the state and its citizens formerly colonized by the British. It is in this context that the Cameroonian performance artist and activist and sculptor Andre Blaise Esama, in a one-man protest, set up a sculpture in Douala, commemorating the historical Anglophone Cameroonian politician and former Southern Cameroonian Prime Minister, John Foncha. A few hours after his sculpture was erected, it was demolished by the police. Andre Blaise Esama, who had just been released from a 6-month prison sentence for tearing down a monument of French colonial figure, General Leclerc, in a revenge protest to the police destruction of his sculpture, then proceeded in tearing down the sculpture of Charles de Gaulle and placed himself in the position of the Gaulle. It is obvious where Esama will spend the next months of his life. Protest, be it as through art or otherwise, is indeed an expression of radical love. It is the repair or an unconditional love, even at the cost of oneself. Protest for the right goals is the conquest of love. Now, the question is, what are the next steps? How do we get out of our comfort zones of our art spaces, our galleries, our studios, our beer parlors? How do we make the revolution tangible? One can be sure that it didn't suffice for Leopold Sédar Senghor to be a brilliant poet. He had to take things in his hands. He had to make a political step. Thank you.
Thank you for having us here. How does a white South African male respond to Max Roach? That's quite a difficult task. The only way I can respond is to say I am one of now 2,000 people who I'm one of 2,000 odd people, part of a coalition that didn't exist 2 weeks ago. And I hope we're passing around a piece of paper, and I hope you add your name and your email address, and that coalition continues to grow. I just want to take 2 minutes to explain the kind of genesis of this movement. Hands Off Our Revolution began with a concern about language. It came from an angry place about how our language, the language of the avant-garde, the language of the left, had been so cheaply and weakly co-opted and pitched as a kind of anti-establishment movement. And I think it's time we steal that language back, but we've got to go beyond language, and we've got to turn those words into actions. And that's what tonight is about. And there are similar workshops going on in Chicago, in New York, and in London all of this week to determine how we turn those words into actions. I think there's a lot to talk about here. What I want to do is just explain the format. We're going to have 3 speakers, each speaking 5 to 10 minutes, and then there'll be time for anybody to come up from the audience and respond. But I'd like really to focus on 2 very clear questions, because there is so much to talk about. The first thing is the ways that art can counter the rising rhetoric of right-wing populism. And the second thing is, how can we identify the scope and the way that cultural resistance to populism and fascism can occupy? What forms and what spaces can they take? How best can we support cultural practitioners in their political resistance? And I think most importantly, referring back to language, I think for me is, let's not ever lose our complexity, and let's not lose our humor. And thank you for being here. I'd like to just introduce Jörg as the first contributor.
Well, I'll jump right into it. I've written down a few notes trying to contribute to the questions that Adam just sketched, and hopefully ending on 5 notes that I think could be leading us or help us to formulate how we enter a phase where we build structure rather than just being paralyzed by what we witness every day. Well, didn't we think that creating alternate realities was the privilege of artists? Well, we were wrong. The lunatics have taken over the asylum. A science fiction writer, William Gibson, recently explained the year 2016 brought about things in 12 months he had imagined to happen over the course of the next 20 years. These days at the White House, Mango Mussolini in a bathrobe watching cable news unleashes unhinged series of Twitter insults, while the 2 Steves, Bannon and Miller, write up another mean-spirited and incompetent executive order. I mean, by the day. Meanwhile, in Downing Street, London, I can picture Theresa May clicking her leopard high heels together like Dorothy in Wizard of Oz, still psyched up by the Parliament votes in favour of hard Brexit from a few weeks ago, supported by a lemming Labour Party hell-bent on playing to the supposed leanings of their constituencies against any better knowledge, including all the things that have happened since the pro-Brexit poll last June. And of course, other countries around the world, from the Philippines to Brazil, are also experiencing an increasing onslaught of propaganda and outright suppression. Turkey, under Erdogan, since the supposed coup attempt last July, has dramatically moved towards an outright dictatorship, with thousands imprisoned on cooked-up conspiracy and terrorism charges. As any already fleeting ideas of an open society are replaced with isolationism, chauvinism, and xenophobia, the illusion that anything but a